Basketball is a sport of skill, speed, and finesse. But sometimes things get ugly. Over the years, the NBA has seen its fair share of controversial and downright dirty plays that left players injured, fans outraged, and legacies tarnished. From blatant cheap shots to reckless fouls that changed careers, these moments live on as some of the dirtiest plays in NBA history. In this deep dive, we'll look at some of the most infamous incidents ever recorded on the hardwood, exploring the players behind them, the impact they had on the game, and how the NBA responded. These aren't just fouls. They're moments that pushed the boundaries of fair play, and in some cases, redefined the league's approach to discipline and player safety. The Malice at the Palace, a brawl for the ages. No list of dirty NBA moments is complete without mentioning the Malice at the Palace. On November 19, 2004, a heated game between the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons spiraled into chaos when Ron Artest, now Meta Sandiford Artest, committed a hard foul on Ben Wallace. Wallace retaliated, pushing Artest, and things quickly escalated. As Artest laid on the scorer's table trying to cool off, a fan threw a drink at him, igniting one of the most infamous brawls in sports history. Artest stormed into the stands, throwing punches, followed by several Pacers teammates. The melee led to multiple suspensions, including a record 86-game suspension for Artest, and forever changed how the NBA handled player-fan interactions and security at games. Bill Laimbeer, the king of dirty plays. Bill. Laimbeer's name is synonymous with dirty basketball. As the enforcer of the Detroit Pistons' Bad Boys era, Laimbeer built his reputation on physicality, elbows, and relentless rough play. He was known for taking cheap shots, throwing hard fouls, and frustrating opponents to the breaking point. One of his most infamous plays came against Larry Bird in the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals. As Bird went for a layup, Laimbeer clubbed him in midair, sending him crashing to the ground. Bird immediately jumped up and went after him, sparking a brief scuffle. Laimbeer's dirty tactics made him one of the most hated players of his time, but they also made the Pistons champions in 1989 and 1990. Bruce Bowen, the master of sneaky dirty plays. Unlike Laimbeer's overt physicality, Bruce Bowen's brand of dirty play was subtle, but just as dangerous. As one of the NBA's best perimeter defenders in the 2000s, Bowen was notorious for sticking his foot under jump shooters, kneeing opponents mid-drive, and delivering accidental kicks to the face. One of his dirtiest moments came in the 2007 playoffs against Steve Nash. While guarding Nash, Bowen intentionally kneed him in the groin, a move so blatant that Nash doubled over in pain. The NBA eventually cracked down on Bowen's tactics, but his legacy as one of the dirtiest defenders in history remains. Karl Malone's elbow on Isaiah Thomas. Karl Malone may be one of the greatest power forwards of all time, but he was also responsible for one of the most brutal cheap shots in NBA history. In a 1991 game against the Detroit Pistons, Malone delivered a vicious elbow to Isaiah Thomas's head, leaving him with a gash that required 40 stitches. The hit was so violent that Thomas was visibly dazed and furious, confronting Malone before being restrained. The NBA fined Malone $10,000, but many felt it was far too lenient for such a dangerous play. To this day, it remains one of the dirtiest shots ever delivered on an NBA court. Draymond Green, the king of low blows. Draymond Green is one of the most versatile defenders in modern NBA history, but he also has a well-documented history of questionable plays, especially when it comes to kicking opponents. Green's most infamous dirty moment came in the 2016 playoffs, when he repeatedly kicked Oklahoma City Thunder center Steven Adams in the groin. The kicks were so blatant that the NBA eventually suspended Green for Game 5 of the NBA Finals after another incident with LeBron James. The suspension arguably cost the Warriors a championship, as Cleveland mounted a comeback to win the series. Green's aggressive play style has continued to stir controversy, but his history of low blows remains a stain on his otherwise impressive career. Rajon Rondo's spitting incident with Chris Paul trash talk is part of the game, but Rajon Rondo took it to another level during an altercation with Chris Paul in 2018. During a heated game between the Lakers and Rockets, Rondo appeared to spit in Paul's face, triggering a full-blown fight. Paul retaliated by poking Rondo in the eye, and punches were thrown between both players. The incident led to multiple suspensions, with Rondo receiving a 4-game ban and Paul getting 2. To this day, the two players still have bad blood, and the spitting incident remains one of the most disrespectful moments in recent NBA history. Zaza Pachulia, the infamous closeout on Kawhi Leonard. Sometimes a single dirty play can alter an entire playoff series. That's exactly what happened in the 2017 Western Conference Finals, when Zaza Pachulia undercut Kawhi Leonard on a jump shot, causing him to land awkwardly and re-injure his ankle. Leonard was forced to leave the game, and the Spurs' hopes of upsetting the Warriors vanished. Many believe the move was intentional, as Pachulia had a reputation for questionable plays throughout his career. The NBA later introduced the Zaza rule, which penalized players for stepping into a shooter's landing space, effectively changing how defenders contest shots. Conclusion: the fine line between toughness and dirty play basketball is a physical game, and some players push the boundaries to gain an edge. But when tough play crosses into dirty territory, it can have lasting consequences, whether it's injuries, suspensions, or reputations that never recover. The NBA has taken steps to clean up the game, implementing stricter rules and harsher penalties for dangerous plays. However, as long as competition is fierce, there will always be players who walk the fine line between aggressive defense and outright dirty tactics. Which of these plays do you think was the dirtiest? Did we miss any infamous moments? Let us know in the comments.